The execution chamber that stopped time. The cold metal floor burned against Adam Steele's knees as two tall alien guards pushed him forward inside the great execution chamber. Blue fire lamps glowed on the walls, casting long shadows that made the place feel more like a tomb than a courtroom. Adam's wrists were locked behind him with energy cuffs, and every pulse of electricity stung his skin. He tried to keep his face calm, but inside his heart was racing like a machine about to break. Above him stood three Alarian officials, tall, thin, and blue-skinned, their silver eyes watching him like he was an insect caught under glass. The leader stepped forward, and his voice echoed through the hall. "Reconnaissance Specialist Adam Steele of Earth, you stand accused of violating Alarian space, spying on the Dominion, and breaking Interspecies Law Code 5591. Adam gritted his teeth, struggling not to show fear. His mission had been simple, a small stealth flight near the moon of Alter 4. Gather readings, go home. But the craft malfunctioned. Alarms screamed, systems died, and he fell into restricted territory where Alarian patrols captured him within minutes. Now here he was, about to be erased from existence. The official continued speaking with no emotion. Punishment for these crimes is death by neural dissolution. Adam felt a chill crawl through his spine. Neural dissolution was not simple death. It was a burning process that melted the brain until nothing was left, not even memories. The guard behind him nudged him again, forcing him to face the glowing machine waiting at the far end of the chamber. Adam swallowed hard but managed to speak. "You people are insane. It was an accident." A guard kicked his shoulder and he fell forward with a groan. The official raised an eyebrow, amused by his resistance. "Your death will protect the Dominion from further human interference," he said, "but it will also break your people's non-aggression treaty." Adam's breath caught in his throat. That meant danger for Earth's colonies, especially the small settlement on Proxima. If he died, war would follow. Everything suddenly felt heavier, like invisible hands pressed on his chest. The official lifted his hand to signal the guards. "Prepare the human." The guards pulled Adam up and dragged him toward the humming machine at the back, its metal claws opening like the mouth of a hungry beast. Adam's heartbeat slammed in his ears. This was it. No more missions, no more Earth, no more future. But then a new voice echoed across the chamber. Low, calm, powerful. "I invoke the right of clemency." Time itself felt like it stopped. Every guard froze. Every official turned toward the shadows. A woman stepped out, her tall figure wrapped in dark blue armor that shimmered like metal in moonlight. Her skin was not pale blue like the others, but a silver tone that almost glowed. Her long white hair was tied back, showing a face both sharp and calm. Adam instantly knew her rank from intelligence files. General Valera Thane, a brilliant commander, a feared strategist, and one of the highest-ranking nobles in the Dominion. The officials bowed their heads immediately. "General, this is unexpected," the leader said. Valera did not bow or greet them. She only looked at Adam with unreadable eyes. "I claim responsibility for this human under Article 7, she said firmly. The officials looked shocked, even frightened. "General, that law is ancient," one whispered. "It allows marriage as a form of protection, but it has not been used for centuries." Adam blinked in confusion. Marriage? Was she serious? He stared at her, unable to understand why someone so powerful would want him. Valara took one step closer and spoke without emotion. "I offer him clemency through formal union." Adam shook his head. "No way, lady. I don't even know you." But his voice cracked because he saw the guards tightening their grip, ready to drag him to the machine. Valara did not react to his fear. "You know enough," she replied calmly. "You know your only choices are death, slavery, or this union." The official raised his hand again impatiently. "The human must choose now." Adam closed his eyes, breath shaking. He thought of Earth, of the colonies, of everything that would happen if he died here. He thought of his family, of the life he wanted, all of it ending today. He opened his eyes slowly and looked at Valara. She stood straight, her expression cold. But there was something behind her eyes, something she was hiding, something that almost looked like pain. "I accept," Adam said, and the words tasted bitter. Valara nodded. "Remove his restraints." The cuffs deactivated and fell to the floor. Adam rubbed his wrists and glared at the general who had just become his wife by law. She was older, stronger, and far more dangerous than anyone he had ever met. This was not a rescue, it was another prison, a prison wrapped in silver armor and cold eyes. "Come," Valara said, turning sharply. "We leave for my estate." Adam followed, trying to hold his head high, even though his world had just shattered. He had no idea that this forced marriage would start something far bigger than a treaty or a punishment, something that would shake the Dominion itself and change both of their lives forever. The general's hidden wing. The ride to General Valera's estate felt longer than the endless darkness outside the shuttle window. Adam sat stiffly in the back seat, two elite Alarian guards sitting on either side of him, their glowing armor humming softly. Valara sat in the front, perfectly still, her eyes fixed on the stars ahead, never looking back at him even once. It felt less like traveling with a wife and more like being delivered to a new prison. When the shuttle finally landed, Adam expected a simple military base. Instead, the doors opened to reveal a huge estate, a massive structure carved into the side of a mountain of pale blue stone. Silver lights lined the walkways, and strange bird-like creatures circled above, their cries echoing between the cliffs. The servants waiting outside all bowed extremely low when Valara stepped out. Their fear was almost visible in the cold air. No one even breathed loudly until she passed them. Adam walked behind her, feeling like a small insect under the weight of the silent stairs. Inside, the estate was even more impressive. Tall ceilings, floating lanterns, holographic art, and walls made of crystal glass that showed the night sky. But despite its beauty, the place felt empty. Empty like someone had lived here alone for many, many years. Valara finally spoke without turning her head. "You will stay in the East Wing, human." Her voice was sharp, controlled, almost mechanical. "You are under my protection now, but not free to wander." Adam clenched his fists. "I didn't ask for this marriage," he muttered under his breath. Valara did not react. She simply walked faster, her boots echoing on the polished floor. As they reached a grand hallway with doors lined on each side, Adam noticed something strange. One door at the very end was surrounded by a faint blue glow, not like the others, which looked dark and normal. This door felt alive. It pulsed softly like a heartbeat. Before Adam could ask, Valara turned sharply toward him. "You will never go near that wing," she said, her voice suddenly low and dangerous. Adam had heard that tone before, in Soldiers Ready to Kill. It was a warning carved out of steel. She left him with two guards who led him to a room far away from the glowing door. His room was huge, comfortable, and filled with advanced tech, but it didn't matter. He felt like a decorated prisoner. Adam paced the room slowly, his thoughts storming. He had just married a woman he had met an hour ago, a woman 33 years older, powerful enough to destroy him with a word, a woman who acted like this marriage was nothing but paperwork, and a woman who hid something behind that glowing door. Hours passed. Adam tried to sleep, but every time he closed his eyes, the execution machine flashed in his mind. He kept hearing Valara's voice, the cold tone, the firm command. And behind that, something else, a tremble in her voice earlier in the chamber, a crack in her armor. Why had she chosen him? Why did a general risk her reputation and power for a human she didn't know? After midnight, when the estate grew silent and the guard's footsteps faded in the distance, Adam sat up in bed. His curiosity burned stronger than his fear. He needed answers. He needed to know what was behind that glowing door. He moved quietly through the hall, careful not to activate the motion sensors. The blue glow at the end pulsed brighter now, almost calling him. As he approached, the door scanned him automatically, and to his shock, it reacted. A soft chime sounded. A holographic message appeared in Alarian script and then shifted into English. "Human genetic pattern detected." Adam froze. Why did this forbidden door respond to him? How could it identify his DNA? The lock clicked open with a soft hiss. The door slid aside, revealing a long room filled with machines, glowing tubes, and holograms floating in the air like ghosts. But what caught Adam's breath was the large central hologram, a rotating image of a young human male, maybe 28, strong jaw, sharp eyes, dark hair, a man who looked almost like him. Adam stepped closer, heart pounding. The face resembled his own so closely it felt like staring at a brother he never knew he had. Under the image, alien text scrolled, along with records of injuries, military missions, and something else. Deceased. Adam's chest tightened. Who was this man? Why did Valera keep a hologram of him locked in a secret room? Why did the door open only for Adam? Before he could read more, a sudden chill shot through the room. The temperature dropped sharply. He turned around, and his stomach twisted. Valera stood at the doorway, her silver skin reflecting the cold light, her expression unreadable, but her eyes burning with something fierce, anger, fear, pain all mixed together. Her voice was quiet, but stronger than any shout. "You were never meant to see him." Adam felt his heart hammer against his ribs. "Who is he?" Adam whispered. "Why does he look like me?" Valara stepped closer, her jaw tight, her hands clenched. For the first time, Adam saw her armor shake slightly. Not from rage, from something much deeper. Her voice cracked as she answered, "He is the reason I saved your life." And the room fell silent as the truth hovered between them, like a ghost, the secret that could destroy worlds. The room felt too quiet, too cold, too heavy with things unsaid. Adam stared at Valara, heart frozen in his chest. She looked different now, not the perfect, emotionless general he had met earlier. Her face held something raw, something human, a pain she had hidden for years. Adam took a slow step forward. "Who is he?" he asked again, softer this time. Valara's eyes flicked toward the hologram. The young man's face glowed in the blue light, almost alive. "His name was Cale Arden," she said quietly. "He was a human soldier." Adam blinked, confused. "A human?" Valara nodded, her voice steady but her hands trembling beside her. "He saved my life during the Orion conflict, years before you were born." She looked away as if pulling memories from another lifetime. "Our shuttle was attacked. The rebels tried to assassinate me." Her voice softened at the edges. "They would have succeeded, but that human, Kyle, threw himself into the blast." Adam felt something crack inside him. A human soldier sacrificing himself for an alien general was not a story he had ever heard. Humans were always described as weak, reckless, emotional. But Kale had done something no alien commander expected. He had died to protect one of their leaders. Valara stepped closer to the hologram, her fingers brushing the blue light as if touching Kyle's face. "He was brave, stubborn, foolish, and stronger than he knew," she whispered. "The Dominion hated him." "Why?" Adam asked, breathing harder. "Because he changed me," Valara replied, her silver eyes flickering. "Because I trusted him." Adam watched her, shocked. Valara had shown more emotion in the last minute than in the entire time he'd known her. But something still didn't make sense. "If he died saving you, why am I here?" Adam asked. "Why me of all humans in the galaxy?" Valara inhaled slowly, as if the next words would break her. "Because you share his genetic pattern," she said. Adam felt the floor tilt beneath him. "My what?" "Your DNA," Valara whispered. "Your readings match Kale's profile with 93% similarity." Adam stared at the hologram again, and for the first time he noticed everything. The jawline, the eyes, the expression. It was like looking at another version of himself, a version who lived, fought, and died long before he ever existed. Valara turned away, her back straight, her voice hard again. "When your shuttle fell into our territory, the scanners identified your genetic structure. The moment I saw the report, I invoked the ancient law and claimed you." Adam frowned. "But why?" Valara's answer came like a whispered confession. "Because I failed him." The blue lights flickered as if reacting to her words. "I could not save Kyle," she said. "I watched him burn to protect me." Her voice tightened. "I vowed that the next human with his pattern would never suffer the same fate." Adam looked at the hologram again and felt something heavy settle inside him. He was alive because of a ghost, because of a promise made long before he was born. But this was only the beginning. Valara stepped closer to a console and pressed her palm against it. A second hologram appeared, larger, brighter, filled with red warning symbols. "This rush," she said, "is why your presence is dangerous." Adam stared at the screen in disbelief. It showed Kale's death, then it showed something else. Something impossible. Lines of alien prophecy, an ancient script that shimmered like liquid light. "What is that?" Adam whispered. Valara replied with a voice that trembled just slightly. "A prophecy written before the Dominion existed." She pointed to the largest line of glowing symbols. The console translated it into English. "A human of mirrored blood shall return, and with the silver one, the Dominion shall fall." Adam felt his throat tighten. "So you think I'm that human?" "Yes," Valara said simply, "and that is why they will kill you." As she spoke, distant alarms suddenly echoed through the estate, a deep metallic wail that vibrated through the walls. Valara spun around instantly, her armor activating with a flash of white light. "Assassins!" she growled, her voice sharp as a blade. Adam's heart pounded as figures in black armor burst through the hallways, their weapons glowing with red energy. They moved fast, too fast, clearly elite killers sent for only one purpose: to eliminate him, to destroy the prophecy, to remove Valara's weakness. Valara grabbed Adam's arm with surprising force. "Stay behind me," she ordered. Before Adam could speak, the first assassin fired, and Valara moved like lightning. Her silver armor blurred as she leapt forward, blocking the blast with her arm. The energy bolt exploded against her armor, and she staggered, but she did not fall. Another bolt shot toward Adam. Valara shoved him aside, taking the hit straight to her chest. Silver blood splattered onto the floor, glowing faintly. "Valara!" Adam shouted, catching her before she fell. Her breathing was sharp, painful, but her eyes still burned with fury. "They want you dead," she whispered. "They fear what you might become." More assassins stormed the hall, surrounding them from every side. Adam felt helpless, unarmed, trapped. But Valara pushed him back, lifting her weapon with shaking hands. "They will not take you," she hissed. "I will die before that happens." Her armor flickered, her energy fading, but she stood tall, ready to fight an army alone. Adam realized something in that moment. She wasn't protecting him because of the law, or the treaty, or Kale. She was protecting him because she cared, more than she wanted to admit. The assassins raised their weapons to fire all at once. The energy crackled, building into a deadly storm. Valara whispered one final warning. "Run!" And the hall exploded with blinding light. The fugitive general and the human who wouldn't break the explosion blasted through the hallway like a hurricane made of light. Adam hit the ground hard, his ears ringing, his vision shaking with white sparks. Heat washed over him, the floor vibrating under his hands. For a moment he couldn't breathe, couldn't think, couldn't move. When the smoke cleared just enough for shapes to form, Adam pushed himself onto his elbows, coughing. His eyes widened in terror. Valara was on one knee, her silver armor cracked, glowing blood dripping onto the shattered floor. Around her lay the bodies of 3 assassins, burned by her defensive shield. She had taken the blast head-on to protect him. "Valara!" Adam gasped as he crawled to her side. "You're hurt!" She pushed him away weakly. "I am alive," she whispered. "Move, Adam! More are coming." He heard it then. Footsteps. Dozens coming fast, armored, echoing through the corridors like approaching thunder. Valara struggled to stand, but her right leg shook uncontrollably. Her energy core was failing. Adam could see the flickering lights under her armor. The assassins had planned this. They knew her weakness. They knew she would shield him. "Lean on me," Adam said, forcing her arm over his shoulder. Valara resisted, her pride burning hotter than the wounds on her skin. "I do not need support," she hissed, even though she could barely stand. Adam looked her straight in the eyes. "You saved my life. Now let me save yours." For the first time, Valara did not argue. She allowed him to lift her, allowed him to carry her weight, allowed herself to trust him, even for a second. Together, they stumbled into a maintenance passage just as more assassins entered the main hall behind them. Energy bolts struck the walls, sending sparks everywhere. Adam dragged Valera deeper into the tunnel, breath shaking, legs burning. The alarm screamed through the estate. Everything was chaos. Everything was falling apart. "Where are we going?" Adam asked breathlessly. Valera pointed toward a steep metal staircase leading down. "To the transport vault," she said, voice weak. "We must escape the estate. The Dominion has declared me a traitor." Adam felt a cold rush down his spine. "Already?" "Yes," Valera answered, her breath shallow. "The moment I protected you, the prophecy became real in their eyes." She gripped his arm to steady herself. "They think I will overthrow the Dominion with you at my side." Adam swallowed hard. "And will you?" Valera's eyes flickered, not with anger, but with something that looked like fear. "I do not know," she said softly, "but I know they will kill you to stop it." They reached the bottom of the staircase just as a metal door slid open to reveal the transport vault. Inside were small, sleek escape crafts, built only for emergencies. Valera staggered toward one of them, nearly collapsing. Adam caught her, lifting her into the craft's seat. "You need medical help," he said. Panic rising, Valera gripped his wrist tightly. "No hospitals," she whispered. "They will capture us the moment we enter one." The vault door burst open behind them. 5 assassins rushed in, their weapons glowing bright red. Adam dashed into the pilot seat without thinking. "I don't know how to fly this thing," he said through clenched teeth. Valera reached out, her fingers tapping a glowing panel. "The craft is pre-programmed," she said. "Just launch it." Bolts of red energy sliced through the air as Adam slammed his hand onto the launch button. The craft lifted violently, shaking as it shot through the vaulted tunnel. Assassins fired after them, but the doors sealed shut behind the escaping ship. For a moment, only darkness surrounded them as the craft hurtled forward through the underground route. Valera slumped in her seat, breathing hard. Adam moved closer, trying to keep pressure on the wound in her side. Her silver blood glowed between his fingers, warm and frighteningly bright. "You're losing too much blood," Adam whispered, panic tightening his chest. Valera placed a hand weakly over his. "I have survived worse," she murmured, though her voice trembled. "That doesn't look like it," he said, trying to keep her conscious. Her eyes searched his, softening for a heartbeat. "You should not care," she whispered. "You did not choose this bond." Adam looked away, feeling something unfamiliar twisting inside him. Maybe he didn't choose it, but she had saved him again and again. He couldn't abandon her. Not now. The craft burst out of the mountain, soaring into the open sky. The night air shook the metal wings, stars glowing above like frozen sparks. But to Adam's horror, 3 Dominion pursuit ships appeared behind them instantly, small, fast, deadly. "They followed us," Adam said, gripping the controls. "Of course," Valera whispered. "They will not stop." Missiles locked onto their craft with a sharp warning chime. Valera forced herself to sit upright, her hands trembling as she activated a small console. "Adam, listen to me carefully," she said, her voice suddenly firm again. "In 70 seconds, the craft will enter the ion storm." "What storm?" Adam asked, staring at the swirling blue clouds ahead. "The one that kills anything with a weak shield," Valera answered calmly. Adam's heart hammered. "And what about us?" Valera met his gaze with tired but unbroken eyes. "If you trust me," she said, "we will survive. If you do not, we die." The pursuit ships closed in, missiles ready to fire. Valera reached out, placing her blood-stained hand on Adam's. "Do not break, human," she whispered. "Not now." Adam took a breath, tightened his grip, and pushed the craft straight into the storm. Lightning exploded around them, the sky roaring like a living beast. The Dominion ships followed, but one by one their shields flickered. Their engines sparked, and their ships tore apart in the raging blue clouds. Valera collapsed against the seat, her strength finally giving out. Adam held onto her trembling hand as the craft shook violently. If the shields failed now, they would both die in seconds. He looked at her pale face, at the cracks in her armor, at the blood that refused to stop glowing. "Stay with me," Adam whispered. "We're not finished." But Valara's eyes were closing, her pulse weakening, her voice fading. "You must survive," she whispered, almost too quiet to hear. "You are more important than you know." And just before she lost consciousness, she spoke one last sentence, a sentence that broke Adam's world apart. "Cale Arden was not only your genetic match," she whispered. "He was your grandfather." The craft plunged deeper into the storm as darkness swallowed them both. The fall of the Dominion Council. The escape craft burst out of the ion storm like a wounded bird, shaking as its engines sputtered in the cold night sky. Adam gasped for breath, sweat dripping down his neck as he fought to steady the controls. He could barely think, barely see, but one thought burned hotter than everything else. Valara was unconscious, slumped against the seat, her silver blood glowing faintly beneath the cracked armor, and her last words kept echoing in his mind. "Cale Arden was your grandfather." Adam felt the world twist under him, the hologram, the face that looked like his, the prophecy, Valara's fear. Everything suddenly made sense and made no sense at the same time. He wasn't here by accident. He wasn't just some human soldier caught in the wrong place. His bloodline had drawn Valara to him. His grandfather's sacrifice tied their lives together long before Adam was even born. But he had no time to understand it. The craft's warning lights flashed red. Hull breach detected energy core unstable shielding at 12%. "Hold on," Adam whispered to Valara, even though she couldn't hear him. "Just stay alive." The craft spiraled through the clouds, dropping lower and lower until it finally crashed into a wide stretch of glowing moss fields on the far side of the planet. The impact knocked Adam forward, his shoulders slamming against the dashboard, sparks flying across the cabin. But he didn't stop. He crawled toward Valara, lifting her carefully from the broken seat. Her breathing was slow, weak, but still there. Barely. He carried her out of the wreckage into the glowing blue grass, the night sky swirling with strange colors overhead. Then he froze. In the distance, lights were approaching. Not ships, but land cruisers, dozens of them, moving in formation. Dominion soldiers, an entire battalion. They were coming for him. Adam lifted Valara into his arms and staggered toward a rocky cliff, seeking cover. But before he reached it, a deep voice echoed through the valley, amplified by a hover drone. "Human, you are surrounded. Custody yourself at once." Adam's pulse pounded in his throat. They intended to kill him. He knew that now. They feared the prophecy, feared what he could become, and Valara. She would be executed for treason the moment they captured her. He pressed his back against the rocks, clutching her protectively. "Think," Adam whispered to himself. "Think like a soldier." But he wasn't a soldier. He was reconnaissance. Unarmed, unprepared, and about to die. The hover drone descended, lighting up the area where he hid. The soldiers raised their weapons, ready to fire. Adam stepped out slowly, holding Valara firmly. "Stop!" he shouted, and his voice cracked with fear and fury. "You shoot! She dies! Your general dies!" The soldiers hesitated, their formations shifting uncertainly. Valara was beloved by many of them, feared by all of them. A commander like her did not fall easily. Adam raised his voice again, stronger this time. "I demand trial under ancient law." The soldiers exchanged confused looks. One of them stepped forward, helmet shining. "You have no right to request that." Adam glared at him. "She married me. That gives me the right." Silence fell like a heavy curtain. The soldiers knew he was correct. Under Alarian tradition, even a human bound by union had legal protection. But they also knew the Dominion wanted him erased. Finally, the lead officer spoke again. "We will bring you to the High Council." Adam nodded. "Good, because I'm done running." He lifted Valara carefully as the soldiers moved closer. Her head rested on his chest, her hair cold against his skin. She had saved him again and again. Now it was his turn. They transported him and Valara in a sealed transport cage, guarded by 8 soldiers. The ride was silent, tense, every breath thick with danger. Adam watched Valara's chest rise and fall slowly, her face pale. "If she dies," he whispered to himself, I swear I won't let this go. The transport entered the capital through towering gates of dark crystal. Massive structures rose around them, shimmering under neon lights. Crowds gathered as the cage passed, people whispering, pointing. Some looked afraid, some curious, some angry. A human had never been brought to the High Council before. The transport landed in the center of the colossal council chamber, a circular arena with floating platforms and bright blue flames lighting the walls. At the far end, 12 council members sat on elevated thrones, their silver eyes watching Adam like predators. He stepped forward as soldiers placed Valara on a medical cradle nearby. His fists clenched, his jaw set. He felt fear, deep, choking fear, but he refused to bow. The High Chancellor spoke first, voice smooth and poisonous. Adam Steele of Earth, he began, you stand accused of corrupting General Valara Thane, a noble of the Silver Court, and initiating treason against the Dominion. Adam laughed, a shocked, bitter sound. You want to blame me for what your assassins did, murmurs rippled through the chamber. The Chancellor scowled. You were never meant to live long enough to stand here. And yet here I am, Adam said, stepping closer. And I'm not alone. Gas filled the chamber as Valara stirred on the medical cradle, her eyes fluttering open weakly. The Chancellor stiffened. General Thane, you should be unconscious. Valara lifted her head slowly, pain twisting her expression. You underestimate me, she whispered. The room fell dead silent. Even half-conscious, she commanded respect. Adam stood beside her, voice steady. I invoke Cale Arden's record. The holographic screens flashed instantly, displaying the face of Adam's grandfather. The human who saved Valara, gasps and whispers burst around the chamber. The Chancellor slammed his staff on the floor. That record is sealed. Then unseal it, Adam said sharply. Unless you're afraid of the truth. The audience murmured loudly now. The council members exchanged glances, fear, confusion, anger, all mixing in their eyes. Valara forced herself to sit up, her voice low but sharp. This human is under my protection, she said, and Cale Arden's bloodline is tied to our history. Adam raised his chin. I demand full trial under the ancient law, and if I am to die, then let the entire Dominion witness why. The Chancellor leaned forward, eyes glowing. You think your words can change anything? And then something happened that no one in the chamber expected. Not the council, not the soldiers, not even Valara. The audience, hundreds of citizens watching from the balconies, began to chant, soft at first, then louder, then thunderous. Trial for the human. Trial for the human. Let him speak. The council members looked around in shock. Their own people were demanding justice. Adam felt something ignite inside him. Courage, purpose, strength. For the first time, he was no longer the prisoner. He was the spark of something far bigger. He stepped forward until the light of the chamber shined fully on him. His voice rang through the air like a strike of lightning. I am not Cale Arden, he said, but I carry his blood. I carry his memory. And I carry the truth that you have tried to bury. The Chancellor slammed his staff again. Enough, he shouted. This council declares. But he never finished the sentence. A deafening noise shook the entire chamber. The giant doors of the hall flew open violently, and an armored figure stepped inside. Glowing silver from head to toe, eyes blazing with fury, Valara whispered one word, her voice trembling. Impossible. Adam turned slowly, his heart pounding, his breath frozen. Cale Arden stood at the entrance, alive, or something that looked terrifyingly like him. The union that shook the galaxy. For a long moment, the entire High Council chamber froze. No one breathed, no one moved, no one understood what they were seeing. The armored figure who stepped through the shattered doors looked like a ghost wearing a soldier's skin. Tall, powerful human, his jawline sharp, his eyes bright and burning, his expression cold with purpose. And that face that matched the hologram, too perfectly, a mirror of the man Adam saw in the secret wing, a mirror of his own. Adam staggered back, holding the edge of Valara's medical cradle, his breath shaking. It can't be, he whispered. Valara's eyes widened, her silver skin paling as if she had seen a dead man rise from the void. "Kyle," she breathed, her voice trembling for the first time. The figure stepped forward, each footstep echoing like thunder through the chamber. Crowds parted in fear and awe. Even the Dominion soldiers stepped back, unsure whether to aim or kneel. But Adam felt a strange pull in his chest, as if some invisible thread connected him to the figure. His heart raced, his mind spiraled. And yet he whispered words he did not fully understand. "You're not my grandfather." The figure stopped, slowly removed his helmet, and Adam found himself staring into a pair of eyes he recognized. Eyes filled not with life, but with something else, something ancient and broken. "I am what remains of him," the man said, his voice layered with static. It carried warmth and sorrow, twisted with cold metallic echoes. Not human, not machine, something in between. A memory wearing a body. Valara took a weak breath, her voice cracking. "They preserved you," she whispered. "They kept you alive." The man turned to her, and for a moment the coldness in his expression softened. "I was never meant to survive that explosion," he said. "My body died, Valara, but they rebuilt me, enhanced me, turned me into a weapon." Adam's stomach twisted. The Dominion had taken a dying hero and twisted him into something else. And now he stood here not as a grandfather or a soldier, but as a final tool of the Dominion's fear. The High Chancellor rose, fury in his eyes. "Arrest him," he shouted. "He is a broken relic of war." But no one moved. The soldiers looked at Kale as if facing a legend carved from steel and blood. Kale ignored the Chancellor completely. His gaze was locked on Adam. "You carry my blood," Kale said, stepping forward. "You carry my fight." Adam's pulse hammered in his throat. He felt a strange warmth in his chest, almost like Kale's presence awakened something inside him. "What do you want from me?" Adam asked, voice shaking. Kale's face softened into something almost human. "Not what I want," he said. "What she deserves." He pointed to Valara. Bruised, bleeding, barely sitting upright. "I saved her once," Kale continued, "but I was not strong enough to stay by her side." His voice cracked. "I need you to finish what I started." Valara closed her eyes, tears gathering but not falling. This was pain she had buried for decades, a love she had lost, a promise she had failed to keep. The High Chancellor slammed his staff again, furious beyond reason. "Enough," he roared. "This human and this machine are threats to our Dominion. Guards, execute all three." The order fell like a blade. But something strange happened. The guards did not move. The citizens in the balconies did not scream. Instead, one voice shouted from above, "No!" Then another, louder, "No more lies!" Then a third, "Justice for Valara." The chamber trembled with the roar of thousands of voices, a crowd rebellion, a storm born from years of fear and silence. The Chancellor's face twisted in panic. "Silence!" he shouted. "This is treason!" Cal stepped forward, armor humming with rising energy. "You do not command them," he said. "You only control them through fear." Valara struggled to her feet, leaning heavily on the cradle. Her voice was weak but powerful. "I stand with the human," she said, "and with the people." Her words exploded through the chamber like a flare of rebellion. Soldiers lowered their weapons. Citizens cheered. Council members whispered in terror. The Chancellor tried again. "You are injured, General Thane. Stand down." Valara raised her chin defiantly. "I will never bow to corruption." Kyle looked at Adam again. "This is your moment," he said quietly. "Take it." Adam felt something ignite deep inside his chest. Not fear, not confusion, but resolve. He stepped forward until he stood in the center of the chamber, under the bright council lights. His voice echoed across the hall. "I demand the ancient right of truth." Gas filled the room immediately. Even Valera's eyes widened. The ancient right was dangerous. A full public confrontation between the accused and the council. If Adam lost, he would die. If he won, the council's authority would be shattered. The Chancellor's face drained of color. "You dare invoke that," he whispered. Adam nodded. "I have nothing left to lose." Cal stepped to his side, placing a hand over Adam's shoulder. You carry my blood, he said, but your strength is your own. Valara took Adam's hand, her voice soft. No matter what happens now, she whispered, you have already changed everything. The council reluctantly activated the ancient rite platform. Blue fire encircled Adam, Valara, and Kyle, a glowing energy field rising like a dome over them. The chancellor raised his staff and began the trial. But Adam didn't wait. He stepped forward boldly and shouted, you tried to kill me because you fear the prophecy. You tried to kill Valara because she chose compassion. And you kept Kale alive only to chain him like a weapon. The crowd roared in anger. The chancellor screamed, lies! Kale's armor flared. Valara raised her hand, and Adam finished the sentence that broke the Dominion. This council is unfit to rule. The blue fire surged upward, the ancient rite sealing Adam's accusation into the legal codes. The chancellor tried to strike him with the staff, but Kale stepped between them, catching the blow with his bare hand. The impact burst into sparks. Kale's voice echoed like thunder. He speaks the truth. Valara stepped closer to Adam and placed her hand over his heart. Her voice shook with emotion. Then let the Dominion witness our union. The chamber fell silent. She was invoking the highest union bond. Not political, not forced, but chosen. Adam looked into her silver eyes, saw the strength, the pain, the loyalty inside them. And without fear, he said the words that changed the galaxy. I choose you. Valara's voice trembled as she replied, and I choose you. Blue light wrapped around their hands, binding them in ancient energy. The people erupted into cheers. Kale stepped back, his eyes glowing warmly. It is done, he said softly. The Dominion had just gained a new ruler and lost the old one. The council tried to flee, but the crowd surged in fury. Soldiers turned their weapons away from Adam and Valara and aimed them at the corrupt leaders instead. The people had chosen their side. The era of fear was over. Valara lifted Adam's hand high, her voice rising like a battle cry. The Dominion belongs to its people, not to tyrants. And Adam stood beside her, united not by force, but by choice, a human bonded to a silver-skinned noble, a reflection of Kale's sacrifice, and a new future tied to fate itself. The prophecy had come true, not because Adam was destined, but because he chose to fight, to stand, to lead. Cal stepped back, his holographic body flickering, his mission finally complete. Protect her, he whispered to Adam, as I once did. The crowd called their names. The galaxy shifted. And the story of a forced marriage turned into a union that shook the stars.